It is also important to note that while we establish these zones, our local ICE agents and partners have agreed to remove themselves from the immediate area, decreasing potential agitation from the protesters. We will continue to monitor this environment, continue to keep our public safety in the forefront of everything we do, and provide a peaceful environment for all. Thank you.
Thanks so much. And now we'll take some on-topic questions.
So I drive up to Delaney or thereabouts. What do I see going forward? In the past, it's been like a phalanx of like 40 ICE officers. Are we now going to see state police standing there instead and no ICE presence outside the building? And about how big are these zones? There's not a lot of space in that area, so how are people going to be accommodated?
LTC, you want
Sure,
to
absolutely.
describe it?
So right now, as you're pulling up, there will be checkpoints going in, right? And the reason for that is we wanted to close the roadways so we don't have any protesters or peaceful assemblers that are struck by vehicles. What it would look like right now, while we're setting those up, is our personnel, the New Jersey State Police, would then take control of that immediate area. As far as the protest zones or the peaceful assemble zones, we are making them large. We're not pinning people in. We have over 600 yards of bicycle racks right now that we're allowing people to go into to peacefully assemble.
Governor, what has your conversation been like with the Trump administration on these protest zones? And is it your understanding that by setting up these protest zones, it could prevent an influx of DHS officers from coming into Newark?
Well, I think you really keyed in on our big concern here. We've seen over the past 4 nights continued interactions between ICE and protesters. We really feel like adding ICE to this situation has made things less safe. And we've seen a surge now in ICE agents coming into the region, which has given us a great deal of concern. So right now we are working to make sure we get ICE out of the situation, establish peaceful areas for protesters. We also had a protester get hit by a vehicle, which is why we last night took actions on the vehicles, and are working again to just create a much safer environment. And we know from other states that that is not how ICE would take charge of the situation. So we are making sure that we give them no pretext for coming in here, clearing out the ability of people to actually, raise their concerns, peacefully protest. We are going in to make sure that we are both creating the ability of people to draw attention to the real concerns that they have about what's going on inside this facility, where there has not been enough accountability, that they have the ability to peacefully protest, and that they do so safely. I would say as well that the other concern we already were addressing for tomorrow is that there are pro-ICE protesters coming as well, so we are setting up areas so that people can protest peacefully against what's going on inside the facility, but also the pro-ICE protesters have an area to protest as well.
You had mentioned that you saw a surge of ICE agents coming into the region. Is it your understanding that's directly tied to what's happening at Delaney Hall right now? What does that look like?
That is certainly our concern.
Governor, are you aware of ICE breaking the law that you sign whenever they wear masks to counter protesters outside Delaney Hall, recognizing that this is probably a matter for the courts? Is there a way to exercise jurisdictional authority by the state?
Max, we agree with you, and that's why we are in court right now.
You mentioned the Fourth Amendment. Has there been an issue with ICE taking things from protesters or otherwise violating the Fourth Amendment?
Our concern, my concern in speaking to many of the protesters is certainly with respect to due process. I was hearing from many of the protesters that people were here legally. They were showing up to their court hearings, then picked up by ICE, put into the facility to Delaney Hall, and then not having appropriate hearings. So, for example, Senator Kim said that he had heard that in one day one judge was hearing 74 cases, I believe. That certainly does not give people their due process rights.
But, I mean, it was relative to, you said First Amendment and Fourth Amendment, and that's why the state police would be there.
Well, the state police are there. We are here committed to all of our constitutional rights. Those are some of the rights I'm concerned about. The state police are specifically there to ensure people have the ability to protest and that they can do so safely.
Have you been in touch with Governor Hochul or the Trump administration on what's going to happen with Newark Airport? Mark Mullen mentioned the possibility of limiting flights or international flights at the airport in connection to Delaney Hall.
That's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, to think that right now we have a situation, we're here in New Jersey, we are laser focused on taking care of people, to ensure that people inside Delaney Hall are treated with dignity, to ensure that people who want to exercise their constitutional rights have the ability to do so, to ensure that we are following the rule of law and public safety. And instead of being any help whatsoever in this regard, values of this state certainly, and historically this nation, we have these threats coming that they're going to shut down the international terminal in Newark right before the FIFA World Cup. It's completely ridiculous.
Governor, do you have any word on whether or not the Department of Health will be allowed in for a full inspection, not just an isolated area inspection?
That's what we're in talks with right now. We have not received word back, but we certainly went in. Our Department of Health went in there. They did not have full access. And, you know, I strongly feel like if you are running a facility that is safe and humane, you would not restrict access like that. It would be like if you're going into a hospital with the Department of Health and you just get to see the kitchens. That's certainly not adequate. And so we have the GEO facility, for some reason, acted as if they didn't have the authority to do that, so we have taken that up with ICE. We are waiting to hear back.
Yesterday, we obviously heard several reports that some of the ICE officers inside were being violent towards the detainees. Is your office addressing that at all?
We continue to have our federal delegation who is going inside routinely to speak to people inside the facility. We also have worked, as I said, to get the Department of Health in there to understand, because we've also received complaints about unsanitary conditions and food. And we'll continue to work to get answers on all of that, along with our federal partners.
Very final question. Governor, we know that the GEO Group is a privately contracted entity, but is there any clarity on who actually owns the land? And is there any way for the state to exercise authority in how that particular parcel is used?
So there are a lot of people that own different areas. It's why we're very careful about choosing how we could make sure that protesters had the ability to have a space to protest. Essex County has allowed us to use land that is very close to the facility, so we are able to secure that for them. We also, you know, I mean, I think bringing up GEO, it's, you know, here you have a private group that has historically been in court for poor treatment of people inside their detention facilities that they run across the country, gave, you know, tons of money to Trump's campaign, and now have $1 billion contract, as we are fighting affordability, as people's costs go up, $1 billion contract to run this facility poorly, I might add, at the same time that many of the people inside the facility were not breaking the law and were showing up to their court hearings. So again, that is why I've been opposed to these private detention facilities, among several other reasons, and that is why I think, you know, it should be shut down, because it's obviously not operating well right now. And